Hello guys and welcome back to League One predictions. We are back yet again with the final games before Christmas and I'm joined by Benjamin Bloom. How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, getting ready for it. I'm probably going to load up Amazon and start my Christmas shopping maybe tomorrow, but then that won't happen and then I'll do it on Thursday and then it'll be too late. I think the deadline's like Friday for the deliveries and whatnot, but hey. I'm all good, ready to dive in for some more League One predictions before we go into just insanity with like 5 rounds of EFL football in 17 days.
Oh, honestly, it's part of British culture, football around Christmas time, isn't it? We've got so many games coming over the Christmas period. I believe we will be back with one just before Christmas. I think we're going to sit down and record on the 22nd or 23rd, and we'll talk you through our plans then. But honestly, we really do appreciate your support. So we'll start with the plugs. Please be sure, as always, to drop a like. Your support has been fantastic. I might also have to add that the Birmingham City fans were fantastic last week as well, Ben. So that was great to see. Guys, please be sure to subscribe to both of us. Head over to Benjamin Bloom, subscribe over there. Honestly, guys, Christmas is a time of giving, so let's make sure we get involved. Support Benjamin Bloom. Subscribe over here as well to see the League One predictions every week. I appreciate your support, so get involved with that as well. And then the final thing, the scores from last week. Both didn't cover ourselves in a lot of glory, Ben. Matt 5, Ben 3 are the scores.
Shocking. What did we have for that 4-3 between Posh and Crawley?
I had 3-1 Posh and you had 2-2. So we both thought there would be goals, but you know, you can't.
Okay.
It'd be rare to call a 4-3, but they are the scores. Quite a few outcomes. I think there's only one bob on.
Matt, just quickly, Bolton lost at home to Wigan. Wrexham didn't win at home. Stockport lost. Reading lost at home to Blackpool. Huddersfield didn't win at home. There were a few surprises it's not our fault, is it, Matt, really, when you think about it?
No, of course not. It's the club's fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a few surprises. Maybe we'll have to shake it up and go for a few surprises here. Ben, should we get into the fixtures? I'll let you go first for a tricky-looking one here. Cambridge take on Huddersfield. And obviously, looking at the table, you'd make Huddersfield favourites. But Cambridge are picking up good results, including a draw at the racecourse.
Yeah, which probably stitched us up. And dare I say, a lot of people's accumulator bets would have had a Wrexham home win against Cambridge. But yeah, I don't know when it was. Cambridge fans will tell me in the comments. There just seemed to be a turn a couple of months ago where they stopped being, abject, terrible and looking like they were going to finish bottom and have trended up pretty nicely. I am going to back against them. They're at home though, aren't they? I do tend to go for Huddersfield in these videos, so I'll make it close. But I will back Huddersfield. I'll probably get bitten by Cambridge again, won't I? Let's go 1 goal in it. I can see you're smiling because you want to preempt a scribble. I'm 0-1 or I'm 1-2. Let's go 0-1. Cambridge 0, Huddersfield 1.
that isn't a scribble, Ben, but it nearly was.
1-2 would have been.
1-2 would have been, and I'll stick with that. If you'd have taken that, I might have gone for the draw because I do want to give Cambridge United some credit. They've been on a decent run recently. I think Gary Monk said that they're performing not like a bottom 4 team, and obviously, yeah, if they keep this up, they'll climb away from it. But Huddersfield have been impressive. That said, it was only a draw last time for Huddersfield, but they did come from behind to draw with Lincoln, and they're keeping quite a bit of pace with that top 3. There is still that little buffer between them and the top 3, but we have said that we like Huddersfield to be the best threat. So I will go with them, even though I do like Cambridge. So there you go. We've got 0-1 and 1-2. Before we go on to an interesting one here, Ben, Stockport versus Peterborough. Stockport obviously having the better season, but like you say, surprisingly, last time lost to Stevenage. Peterborough were the usual selves last week with that 4-3 bonkers win over Crawley. I usually think Stockport games are relatively low scoring, but Peterborough games are pretty high scoring. So maybe do I meet in the middle? I've gone for 4 goals here, Ben. I'm going to go Stockport 3-1.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm just wondering if we've got Stockport fans in the comments, is Louis Barry going to be unset? Is it going to get a circus now with January? Because he's going to be mentioned a lot now with people wanting to take him to perk their season up, maybe in the Championship, or I think he's been linked even higher than that, actually. So, we'll keep eyes on that. I will go for Stockport to not be a nice opponent for Peterborough, and they'll actually be able to shut them down a little bit, the goal machine that is Peterborough. So I'll go for a standard Stockport victory. I'll take no, I won't take the clean. I will acknowledge Peterborough are so good going forward. I'll say 2-1. Stockport 2, Posh 1.
Yeah, it just feels wrong to not give Peterborough any goals at all, doesn't it? So there you go. We've got the 3-1 and the 2-1. Respecting Stockport, obviously having a good season. Even though they didn't win last time, obviously lost, still in 5th place. It's interesting. If Stockport put a couple of results together, I don't know if they can compete for the top 2. I don't know if they're missing the boat on that now, because you get to a point where it might be too far away. I mean, we are moving into the second half of the season soon, and that top 3 are keeping up a great pace. Speaking of that top 3, Ben, we've got Wycombe Wanderers. They're at home to a team 8th now, just outside the playoffs, in Bolton Wanderers. You're up first.
Yeah, again, I need to hear from fans of one of these teams. I need to hear from Bolton fans, because it feels like we've reached the point with Ian Evatt now where if he loses a couple of games or one game, i.e. a weird one at home to Wigan, who apparently always do well against Bolton, but we weren't clued into that, I don't think, were we? Then it seems to go back to, I don't know whether he's the right guy. He's had his time, he's got close and, not managed to quite get over the line despite. So I don't know whether, I'm not saying it's gone past the point of no return, but it feels very much like where you have a manager who's been at a club for ages, where it's not going to take a lot for everyone to kind of be thinking, you just need something new. Not that Ian Evatt can't do a fine job at Bolton, but is it just time for something new? And yeah, at the moment, Birmingham aside, the last team you want to play at the moment is Wycombe Wanderers. So it'd be absolutely no surprise to anybody in the known universe that I will clearly be predicting a Wycombe win here. Bolton can be quite loose at their worst, can't they? Quite easy to score against. So I'm going to go 3-1. Wycombe 3, Bolton 1.
Okay, and we're thinking along similar lines again, because I've gone for the 2-1 Wycombe. I do think both teams score, but I think Wycombe win. Interesting what you're saying about Bolton. I agree. I think if you cast your mind back to the playoff final last season, when they were such strong favourites, after losing that, the message to what's his name again? Sorry, the manager, it slipped my mind a second.
Ian Evatt.
Ian Evatt, of course. He's from Coventry. I don't know why that slipped my mind. But the message would have been, you have to do it next season now. Do you know what I mean? To have such a good opportunity, that the minimum's got to be to make the playoffs this season. And while they definitely look capable of making the playoffs, they're sort of slipping in and out of the playoff picture with the odd result here and there. But yeah, I'll go with Wycombe. Just back to winning ways after a couple of draws, and still top of the tree. Can they be top of the tree at Christmas? If they win this one, they will be. I'm going 2-1. Next up, Bristol Rovers v Wrexham, and we have to speak about a manager casualty. Matt Taylor has gone from Bristol Rovers. Their form's not been great. I mean, they started the season okay, but they've certainly tailed off it. And difficult game this, Ben, against Wrexham. Wrexham, definitely a surprise last week not to win at home, but they've set the standard so high. Yeah, I see them going back to like 1-0 ways here. Just get the 3 points over the line. Will Bristol Rovers have a new manager in place? Possibly not. I'm going to go 1-0 Wrexham.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's, I'm going to back Wrexham as well, by the way. I just wanted to speak about Matt Taylor, because I always find it a bit of a shame when someone's really hot, and Matt Taylor was really hot. He'd taken Exeter up. He'd been there a long while. And I remember at the time, Mark Bonner, who was managing Cambridge, was heavily linked with the Rotherham job. And Matt Taylor was linked with the Rotherham job as well. And, you can't go against people for, trying to further themselves and going up the division. It was a jump up into the Championship as well. But now when you come back a couple of years later and Matt Taylor's gone to Rotherham, that's not worked out. He's gone to Bristol Rovers, that's not worked out. And it's very easy for all of us to sit here and say, where would he be if he just stayed at Exeter? Would he be in a job trending up, now in League One in the better states. Easy to say with hindsight, isn't it? But there you go. With all of that being said, you know me, I don't like chaos. I don't like managerial changes. We sometimes get a little uplift, but not at home to Wrexham. No, I don't think so. I'm going to go rogue here. I'm going to go 3-0. Bristol Rovers 0, Wrexham 3.
Wow. And they have to win this. I mean, it feels crazy to say that, having just come up from League Two last season, but one slip last week, Ben, and Wrexham slipped to third. And obviously, they've played more games than Birmingham and Wycombe. But I think we have grown used to the fact that Wrexham are going to compete for the automatics this season. I know we're not quite at the halfway point yet, but you just, like we said before, you say about that winning mentality, picking up lots of points every season. I think they'll win this, and I think they will compete for that top 2 still, but the standards are so high at the top. You're up first, Ben, for this one. Interesting. Lincoln versus Reading. Reading into the playoffs in 6th. Lincoln City only 3 points behind them, so a big battle for the playoff places.
Difficult one to call this, isn't it? Lincoln are on a bit of a winless run, aren't they? However, Reading just changed manager, and I think it's a big managerial change, that one, given how much of a talisman Sellers has been for them in difficult times. And Noel Hunt obviously losing his first game 3-0 at home to Blackpool. Just with that, with home advantage to Lincoln, and this is despite Lincoln's winless run, I'm going to back the Imps and I'm going to go for a home win here. I will take a 2-1. Lincoln 2, Reading 1.
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, Lincoln City have not won in a few games. As you say, Reading, with the change in manager, does that take a couple games to settle down? Let's go completely random here, Ben. Here's my bonus point. Lincoln 3, Reading 3. Let's have some fun. A Christmas
with that
cracker.
one. That's excellent.
Yeah, a Christmas cracker. I was thinking where to play it, and I think I've become quite predictable in backing the top teams to win 4-1. I think
I was going to say, have you not seen Crawley v Birmingham at the bottom of this card?
Crawley are in good form, Ben. I don't think
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll go Lincoln 3, Reading 3. Why not? A bit of a bonkers one. Share your thoughts if you go into that one. It does feel like a big game in the playoff race. Next up, Ben, another team in the playoff race, Barnsley, who sit in 7th place. They might have one eye on that Reading versus Lincoln game. They take on Leyton Orient, who've picked up 7 points in the last 3 and moved away from the bottom 4. Difficult. I think to myself, Ben, Barnsley are better at home, but sometimes they're not. It was a really impressive win away at Exeter City last time. Let's go fairly steady with this. Barnsley win. Both teams score. Barnsley 2-1.
Yeah, and you mentioned about Orient and the 7 points, but they'll actually be disappointed because they drew 0-0, didn't they, against Burton in there? Were they at home to Burton as well? I think they were. Yeah, they'll actually be disappointed not to have 9, so they're in good form. But yeah, sorry, Orient fans, but I do fancy Barnsley. So, is this the sort of thing where I've got to acknowledge Orient? Maybe I've got to acknowledge Orient. Come on, we had some surprises last week. Let's pull out a Desmond. Let's assume Orient can nick something. I don't know how that looks, whether it's a late equaliser or something, but why not? Barnsley 2, Orient 2.
Ben, I like that. I like it a lot. It worked for me, I think, when Barnsley played Reading a couple of weeks ago, the Desmond. So there you go. Got a 2-2 draw in there. And then you're up first for this one. Blackpool versus Stevenage. Let's have a little look. So Stevenage and Blackpool have both turned around their form. I mean, I'm glad to see Blackpool back on track after the sort of Steve Bruce train came off the tracks, and that they're moving again nicely again. And Stevenage, I think a couple of weeks ago we were a little bit concerned, but back-to-back wins, 4 games unbeaten, makes this one interesting. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the Steve Bruce train is streaky, isn't it? And I know I know there are more poignant issues around the Steve Bruce train, maybe why it hit the buffers, but we're here to talk about the football. And is it 3 straight wins? Okay, Bristol Rovers, Shrewsbury, and then Reading the first game. But it feels like we're on another winning streak here. So all aboard, everyone. I'm gonna back the Blackpool win here. Stevenage fairly tight, aren't they? Blackpool 2-0. Blackpool 2, Stevenage 0.
And that works nicely because that's not a scribble. Blackpool 1-0. Yeah, I'm all aboard. I could see Steve Bruce having the conductor's hat on, ushering people onto the Steve Bruce train. And I do want to respect Stevenage. I think 1-0 is fair enough because Stevenage, I respect their sort of defensive numbers have been good this season. And to be honest, the way I'm looking at this, if Stevenage scored first, they could maybe pinch this 1-0. I think it might be low scoring. So there you go, 1-0 and 2-0. And then we've got Burton Albion versus Exeter City, Ben. Oh, this one's... So it's 23rd.
Exeter are in pretty rank form, aren't they, as well?
I was thinking, what a big opportunity for Burton. I mean, I suppose a big opportunity for both, really. I mean, if Exeter want to try and turn this form around, they've got to get a result.
Can I just caveat that, Matt? Sorry, it looks like they've played Wycombe, Stockport, Birmingham and Barnsley in a row. So that might explain Exeter's form. Not that I'm trying to help you. I don't want to help you at all. I want to win.
No, but it has been a few games that Exeter haven't won in. I would worry, though, Ben, like you say, with that run of form, and then if they lose this one, and you look at where Exeter are in the table now, could they suddenly get drawn into a bit of a relegation scrap? Burton have been all right here and there. Have they just lacked a bit of consistency? Yeah, I guess they have. It's 1 win in 5. I will go Burton 1, Exeter 2.
Yeah, I think I'm going down that road. Although I could go rogue and just call a draw here. I just wonder whether that would... But Exeter are not going to look at it that way. They're going to look at it. We've had a load of hard games. We're playing against, statistically the worst of... No, they're not bottom, are they anymore? Shrewsbury bottom. Statistically, one of the 2 worst teams in the league. Sorry, Burton fans. They want to get it going again. But let's go for teams out of form and teams struggling to not win and an unhelpful draw. Throw out one of those, Matt. Burton 1, Exeter 1.
That is the definition of an unhelpful draw, isn't it? And you look at the 2 teams definitely need to try and win this one. Ben, I'm really fascinated by the next one. Are you up first for Mansfield versus Rotherham? A month or 2 ago, this was a nailed-on Mansfield win. But do we go for Rotherham now, Ben? You're up first.
So Rotherham have won. There's a couple of EFL trophy wins in there, but they have won 4 in 5. They have scored 8 goals in the past 3 games as well. So I wonder whether we do. Or do we go for both teams to score draw? I'm going to play for a bonus point here.
Okay.
You know what's coming, don't you? Mansfield 2, Rotherham 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You see it?
That. Yeah, I like that. I like that. We've said with Mansfield, we like both teams to score. I don't know what's happened to them, Ben. If was it just
regression to the mean, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, was it just not sustainable? I mean, I suppose the way I would look at it is maybe they, like you say, were always going to regress to the mean, but now it's like they're really regressing in like a rapid form. Whereas I thought maybe over the second half of the season they might. With that said, I am going to agree with you. We're going in the same direction a lot of the time today. I'm going 2-1 Rotherham. I think it does smell of both teams to score, but is Steve Evans just about sort of keeping himself afloat here? It feels like...
Knowing Steve Evans, he'll go on a longer winning streak than Matt Bloomfield has, won't he? And they'll be in the playoffs somehow.
Goodness me, that would be a miraculous promotion, wouldn't it? Because we're getting up to Christmas now and they're still quite far down the table.
You know what happens when Rotherham get in the playoffs, Matt?
I certainly do. They go up, don't they? But you look how bunched up it is, Ben. Rotherham are 17th.
Stop it. You're running with this now, aren't you?
3 points behind 10th place.
There it is.
Right, Ben.
By the way, quickly, Matt, Steve Evans will try and sign 12 players in January as well, won't he?
That's it, yeah. Come aboard the promotion push. Next up, we go to Six Fields for Northampton versus Charlton. And I think it's time I played my nil. I'm going to go for it here. Charlton had one last week, I believe. That was against Mansfield. Northampton Town are a little bit spotty at the minute. I mean, what a good win against Peterborough, but then obviously beaten up by Rotherham. I wonder if a draw is a decent result for Northampton and just moves them a bit further clear of trouble for now. Yeah, I'll go 0-0.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go with the narrative that Northampton are going to have a really hard few months now without John Brady. I don't know what they're doing manager-wise. If any Northampton fans are in the comments, let us know how you see it playing out. But I don't know. I said this on the show last week that when you have a manager who kind of raises a club up and they're kind of punching and doing better than you expected, and also a lot of it was Pinnock or Hoskins, and you kind of think this could turn, and I'm going to go for a bit of a bad run for Northampton. So I'm going to back Charlton. Northampton 0, Charlton 2.
Oh, you're not going for the 1-0?
No. I'm going with the narrative that this is going to suck a bit for Northampton for a while. I hope it doesn't, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, 2 points above that bottom four, so it is. They're not, certainly far from safety. This is a big game down the bottom as well, Ben. Wigan versus Shrewsbury. Wigan's win last time has moved them 4 points clear of the bottom four. And Shrewsbury, we spoke about this earlier in the season. If you're bottom, you could be a long way from safety in League One. 10 points adrift, Ben. And now it's really looking like that win against Birmingham was an outlier. I was wondering at the time, could Gareth Ainsworth really turn their fortunes around? I guess he still could, but it's not been great since. 3 defeats in a row in League One.
10 conceded.
Yeah, exactly. Most goals conceded in the league. Interestingly, though, Wigan not famous for scoring lots of goals this season. And you're up first. What are you thinking?
You've laid out all the groundwork for a 1-0 Wigan win, haven't you? I'll do the obvious then. I'll lock back in with the clean sheet for Wigan, and I'll go Wigan 1, Shrewsbury 0.
Wigan 1, Shrewsbury 0. Okay, and thankfully we've avoided a scribble again here because I've gone 2-1 to Wigan. Sort of conflicted here because I don't usually back Wigan to score many goals, but this is an opportunity for them to get a couple at least. Shrewsbury, I sort of trust them to score but lose because they're just conceding too many. So I will go 2-1, and Shrewsbury definitely at a point now where it just has to be wins. A draw is no good for Shrewsbury, even though it's on the road. Got to start winning games of football, Ben. 10 points adrift, and I suppose it's too early to... Well, is it too early to say, Ben? What's your thoughts? Do you think there's a way back? I suppose it's always possible, isn't it? But
no comment.
That's a political answer. Yeah.
So hard, isn't it? And like you said, four relegated as well in a 46 game season, a 24 team league, 10-point gap.
Yeah, I suppose the best way to look at it is doing the maths. They probably have to perform like a 12th place team from here on in to get above that bottom four. And, they're not even close to performing like a 12th place team. No. So there you go. And then the final one, Ben, this could be interesting. Crawley versus Birmingham. I'm up first for this one. First of all, once again, like I said earlier in the video, thank you so much to the Birmingham City fans showing their support to both of us, but in particular to Ben last week. That was really nice to see. We've got lots of Birmingham fans that watch the channel, and they'll be intrigued to see what we say here, Ben. Look, they're winning lots of games as we thought they would, and they've moved into the top two. Is it a matter of time before they move top of the table? I just wonder if Crawley might be more difficult opposition than you might first think, because Crawley, despite being 21st, they've been on a decent little run. I know they lost their most recent game, but went a few games without losing. I will go with the relatively safe prediction of backing Birmingham, but respecting Crawley and saying it'll be a closer game than people might think. Crawley 1, Blues 2.
Yeah, there's a little winning streak been built here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row with a couple of cup games. But the thing I'm noticing here, they've scored 2 in all of those games, Birmingham as well, Matt. So the goals are really flowing nicely, which is why I think I might try and lock in another bonus point. We've got to hit those 5 goals somehow. So I will go Crawley 1, Birmingham 4. And if I can just piggyback off what you've said, Birmingham fans are good people. I've always had a good relationship with them. On the internet, it's always a minority. So you know, if I had a bad experience making a video about Birmingham, then it's the minority. And sometimes I don't deal with it too well. And I'll admit I've got into it with a couple of people. I had to block a couple of people. But yeah, everybody move on, and thank you for the kind words. It's no big deal, Matt. I'm sure you've had it before as well.
Yeah, please be respectful, guys. 99% of you, like Ben said, are. And we really appreciate the Birmingham City fans' support, because obviously we've covered them in the Championship for a long time, and obviously it's been interesting to see what they're doing in League One. Big picture, the back of our minds, myself and Ben do think Blues probably will get over the line.
I said in the video, you could have clipped me out saying, I will eat my hat. So I set the video up as, could Birmingham actually miss out because they weren't in the top 2 when I made the video? And then at the end, the conclusion was, no, the bookies have got them 9-1 on, and I'll eat my hat. But unfortunately, the small minority were triggered purely by the fact someone had dared to even ask the question, let alone give the view. So it was a bit poor by some of them, but you can see the true colours of the actual majority of the Birmingham fans come through in the comments, can't you? But I've said my piece, Matt. I'll stop now.
No, and you're right, and I'll echo that point and that sentiment. So once again, we thank you for your support, as well as Birmingham fans, the Wrexham fans, the Bolton fans, the Wycombe fans, the Reading fans. We all appreciate your support. We will be back one more time before Christmas when we predict the Boxing Day game, so do join us around then. Make sure you've liked and subscribed, get involved. Make sure to subscribe to Benjamin Bloom, where there'll be lots of Championship and Premier League content coming over the next couple of days as well. And thank you once again. We will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.